All right, good afternoon, everyone out there who's going to be watching this. I hope you're having a nice day. Today I am doing another review. This is just a straight review. This is not going to be a build and then review or after build report or anything like that. This is going to be an unboxing and review of a figure that I just got in today. This is, as you can see, the Bird of Dawn Kalavinka. It's a big firebird, Bird of Dawn Kalavinka. I don't know why it's called Bird of Dawn, because this thing is pretty much all black and gold. And yeah, it doesn't seem like it'd be very much in the way of dawn so much as it is night. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. Today we're going to be taking a look at this thing, going over some of the specifics, giving it a spin on the old turntable, get a good look at it, get a feel for it, see if it's actually worth the amount of money I paid for it. Now, I paid $80 for this thing, thereabouts, shipping and handling from Hong Kong and all of that. This is a figure that is based off of a piece of artwork. I think it might have been made into a comic at some point from a Chinese artist. I don't know the name or anything like that. I apologize. I did not do that much research into it, and I would mangle the names anyways. But the overall story behind this is that this was drawn up. It was a nice, cool piece of artwork, and it got picked up by Big Firebird. They turned it into a figure, and that's what we're going to be taking a look at. So let's spin this box around, get a look at it from all sides. The sides and bottom all say Kalavinka on it, so the back is where we're going to be really giving a crap about. A lot of stuff here written in. Kalavinka is a business alliance in response to the gradual, a multi-purpose designed for the powerful AWT force, special combat aircraft with long endurance, features of multi-purpose machine, the engine driven. It's a lot of English. I'm not even going to go through reading all of it. If you want, you can kind of pause, zoom in. There is, a lot of words written here. Now, it's also got listed here the two main modes. You got your mech mode. Here's one that's all decked out with all the weapons. Here's your jet mode, or mimic mode. It's got these other modes listed over here. They just look like they're half transformed versions of this jet, so I don't really care. It literally looks like they got halfway through transforming it, folded it in half, and said, hey, look, there's another mode. We're not going to go through all of that. We're just going to focus on these two modes, the general robot mode and the jet mode. Now, I will say from the start, just handling this thing, the packaging feels a little cheap. Like, the cardboard is thick, but it feels very light. It's clearly not sealed well. This sticker came off just between me pulling it upstairs and getting everything ready to review. So, yeah, it's not a... Doesn't feel like it's super high quality packaging. It doesn't feel very hefty. So if you're expecting something like a, like a masterpiece or something that had some heft to it, maybe if you're used to Robot Spirits or Metal Builds or SH Figure Arts or any of the other hundreds of different types of figure manufacturers there are out there. So far, I'm going to knock it a little bit for feeling cheap, but we'll see if it actually is cheap. I may have to eat my words on that one. So there you go. So let's go ahead and get this thing open and see what the packaging looks like inside. All right. Okay, so here we are. This is the Kalavinka out of the box. Oh man, we've got some interesting stuff here. All right, I'm guessing that's the instruction manual. All right, so it looks like we've got this thing comes already in jet mode. That's actually fairly large. I like that. Pretty good size there. It's got the some 4 thrusters here. It's got some of the missile pods, a couple of guns. So that's cool. What else do we get in the box? We get more thrusters. I really like the paint work on these, so we'll go over those a little bit later. And then a bag of hands, because, you always need more hands. And then we've got Oh, that's interesting. It's like a little hangar background scene. Um, Perhaps this is supposed to be a, like, if you're looking through the eyes of the jet, the heads-up display or whatever. Um, yeah, I'm not exactly sure what is. I think it's just for display purposes. That's pretty cool. Tell you what, we'll set that back there and have it in the background while we're doing the rest of this review. And then we've got the booklet here. This is just a, looks like maybe just a proof of purchase thing or whatever. And we'll toss that. Nobody cares about that. Here we've got an instruction booklet. This is actually fairly nicely designed. See, you've got some of that art I was talking about. That's actually really cool. Man, if this actually is a comic, I'm actually going to have to try and see if I can find a translated version of this. Bird/binary, I think maybe is the name of it. Check your gears. We've got all the gears. Here's how it looks like, attachment points and all of that. And transformation instructions. It says it's 5 steps. I don't think this is going to be 5 steps. I think this is going to be more than 5 steps. But man, this concept artwork book here is absolutely glorious. So this is getting it into some of those other modes. Not too concerned about that. Honestly, these instructions are a little bit on the hard to read side. But some of this concept art is pretty cool, so I'll give it that. Oh yeah, here we go. This is the supposed to be displayed as sort of a cool little display thing you can do there. Got some more. Oh, they've got another project coming out, maybe? We'll see. Yeah, I'm going to have to definitely see if I can pick up this comic, if it's something that actually has been translated into English. But yeah, that's a really cool instruction booklet. So now I'm going to get this thing out of the packaging. I'm going to try and put on some of the weapons, get it up on the turntable. We'll give it a spin and look at some of those details. So be right back with that in a moment. All right, so here the figure is out of the box. Didn't actually take me long to get this thing set up and out onto the turntable. And I gotta say, pulling it out made me a lot more comfortable with the figure than just feeling the box. The box itself felt really flimsy, but actually getting this thing out, handling it, felt really, really good. A couple of things that I've noticed, the sculpt on this thing is fantastic. The molding is not so great. You've got a few what some people would consider, pretty bad mold lines on some of the weapons where the two halves of them meet, but that's not that big of a deal. But it is beautifully painted. There is some really nice gold in there. You got these white highlight details on these missile pods here. You've got all this sculpted details on the side. And really, that is just absolutely fantastic. You got all the red and white accents all over the jet itself, which is really, really nice. From the top and from the sides, this thing actually looks really, really sleek, really, really clean. Even these smaller booster pods are really, really nicely done. Lots of sculpted detail there. You've got the nice gold on the back, which is a theme throughout this kit, is that black and gold and red color scheme. Very, 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 very nice. So what does shock me, not shock me, but surprise me in a good way, is the sheer number of options that you have on this kit for weapons placement. So what I mean by that is, if I pick this thing up and we turn it over and look at the bottom, you can see that I've got these weapons arrayed out here. I got the 2 boosters on the far sides. The 2 larger booster / gun pods in here, the 2 rifles that came with it. You've also got ports up here where you could add either the rifles. Oh, that's unfortunate. Stand that back up. You've got ports up here on either side, which are the arms that you could also plug in your missile pods or your rifles to. That's also really nice. So you've got, there are 2 sides of attachment points. The size that fits both the rifle and the booster pods, and then the size that fits the larger pods. The larger pods only seem to go on The inner sides of the wings here, there is no other port, it looks like, on the bottom of this jet to fit those in. But they are, in fact, good enough where they are. You could put more missile pod or more booster pods. You could put the guns up here in these two spots. There's a bunch of other places to attach these things. Another thing I really like is that the landing gear here is actually really, really nicely sculpted as well. You don't really get to see a lot of really well sculpted landing gear. It's painted all in silver. The wheels do roll, so you can roll it on the landing gear, and it'll be perfectly fine. Now, the underside of this is not what I would call super clean from a... Like, if this were a Transformer, people would knock it for that. This isn't a Transformer. This is meant to be more of a Macross-style transforming jet, as opposed to, or, you know, robot in disguise. People know what this is in universe, I would assume. So you do have the head sticking up here on the undercarriage, and you've also got the feet and legs sticking back here, which is where the landing gear comes from. But overall, it's a very clean, very nice look. Again, yeah, this is just an impressive looking figure, just from a looking at it mechanically standpoint. And there, I mean, I'll just let it rotate for a little bit here, and you can definitely see all of those nice gold highlights really kicking off with that black and the red on the cockpit, the red accents on the back of the thrusters here. I mean, this is actually a fantastic looking piece. I'm very impressed with it. Not that I was not expecting to be impressed with it. It's just, you know, you don't see too many non-licensed, well, I guess this is licensed, but like non-Western sort of things like this that don't come from some big license or some big, property that already exists that looks quite this good, especially for the price point that I paid for it. Now, there is another figure out there that I think KFC Toys is doing. I don't remember the name of it, but it's the one that has the wings that split off and look like 6 wings when it's transformed. I think it's actually smaller than this one from the comparisons that I've seen to other figures, but it's not nearly as... it doesn't look as good, and it's like $200. This thing cost me $80, and it looks phenomenal. Now, haven't gotten into the transformation yet. Haven't gotten into... playing around with it, seeing how the joint tolerances are or anything like that. But just from this is actually, this looks really, really good. So I'm actually, really looking forward to getting this thing transformed, doing some size comparisons with other bots, looking at how the transformation works. I'm not going to do that on camera because it's the first time I've ever done it. And if I screw it up, I don't want people to see because I am self-conscious. Also, I feel like it would take a long time, and while some people are really into seeing what these sorts of transformations and everything look like, I am not going to bore you with me struggling through doing it the first time. If I get it done and it's pretty easy, I might do it back from robot to jet on camera. But for now, I'm going to just stop we're going to do a quick transition, and then I will have it already in robot mode, hopefully without anything breaking or anything. And we'll put it back up here. We'll give it another spin. We'll talk about robot mode. We'll talk about accessories. We'll talk about loadout. And give final thoughts on this thing. So there we go. Let's go ahead and get this thing into robot mode. And there is our, whatever this thing's called, Kalavinka, up on the turntable in robot mode. And I gotta say, the transformation was not nearly as complicated as I expected it to be, given how sort of explodey this thing kind of looks and feels. But at the same time, it was a satisfying transformation. But I gotta say, there are some scary tolerances on this thing. Most notably in the shoulders. So, as you can see, this thing actually looks pretty cool. It's got very much that sort of Macross feel to it, more so than Transformers. I would say maybe even more like along the lines of Bayformers if you want to go into that. But for example, let's talk about tolerances. So these gold bits that go into the shoulders here have to flip around, and the pegs that go into the shoulders there, that peg into place, are, well, they're tight. Let's just say that. Let's just get that out of the way. Those are some tight joints. They are kind of scary to push in. They're a little scary to pull out because the instructions don't tell you how to transform, or that you need to move the front wing flaps in, or reverse them around. So I had to unpeg the arms to get that, and they're scary. Feel like they're gonna break. Some of the joints very, very tight. I had to be very gentle with them to get them on. They also don't explain all that much in the manual how to actually attach the boosters to the sides of the arms here. There's a little clip that goes on. That clip also acts as the piece that holds the boosters onto the underside of the wings, so it's both a inward torsion and an outward friction sort of clip. It's fine. It does its job. I don't feel like this thing is going to fall apart on me, except for maybe this gun up here on the shoulder. It's the hole that it goes into is a little bit bigger than the peg that it's supposed to be in there with. Longer anyways. I think the width is just right, but it still gives it enough wiggle room that I feel like it's going to fall out. But overall, aesthetics-wise, this thing is really nice. You see the gold here in the joints, and the gold coming off of the back of the thrusters on the backs of the legs. The joints are really nicely done. You get actually a lot of range of bending motion up here in the shoulder joint area. Not so much like butterflying out. He's not going to be raising those arms up and doing the chicken anytime soon. But they are really nice for what they do. There are 3 joints here. You can see the joint at the shoulder, the joint here, and another joint here for a triple jointed elbow, which I think is pretty interesting for this kind of figure. You don't normally see the weird triple jointed elbows. What you do have is an extremely long double jointed knee if you really want to use it. Although the joint here is used mostly in the transformation. The joint that's further down is used for posing. So yeah, it's really technically a single joint. If you keep the boosters on the back of the legs, you're not going to get a lot of movement out of that joint in the leg at the knee bend. However, if you take those off, or maybe flip them around if you want to, then you get all the movement you really want. Down here in the ankles, what you have is a nice ball peg, so a ball peg that goes down into a ball at the ankle, so you get a good amount of movement around in the ankle. And you have upward toe bend on both the front and the back of the feet. So you get a toe bend, you get a heel bend, you get a little bit of a rocker there. So the articulation on this thing is actually fairly good. Combine that with the fact that it looks good. I mean, honestly, I would put this up next to, a Macross figure, have it be sort of like an alternative, like, maybe an enemy Valkyrie or something like that. Or Veritech, whichever one you want. I know some people are going to get upset about using one or the other. Doesn't matter to me. But yeah, this thing looks good. It's well painted. It's very nice on the eyes. It's got a lot of really cool little details on it. I like the boosters. I like the fact that you can kind of arrange things on this kit the way you want. Like you could take these boosters here and put them on the backs of the wings again. The guns can go up onto the shoulders. Sadly, the shield here up on this shoulder can only be on that shoulder. It doesn't have a peg or a corresponding peg on the other shoulder to put the shield in, which is whatever. I don't like that, but I can live with that. A couple of other things about this. You do get some different hands. You've got the posed hand that I have over here. You also get this little pointing hand, so you get a nice little gesturing finger. You get sort of this flat neutral hand here, and you also get a fist that has a hole in the top for it being a holding hand. It's really hard to see, but it looks like it's a holding hand, but caveat there, it's not going to hold anything at all. There is no way that this handle on this gun can fit into that fist. So what you can see here is that I've got that flat neutral hand holding the gun because it's got a hole in it that the gun pegs into, and that's how it holds it. I'm not super happy about that. I also don't like the fact that there's no inflection on the hands. Like you've got a joint here and then a swivel here, but it's not a ball peg, so you're not going to get a lot of range of motion out of those hands without getting into some pretty awkward arm poses. The hands are really kind of the big letdown. I like the variety of hands. I just don't like the fact that some of the hands literally can't hold the weapons that were given with you in the kit. So you have to use that like flat, straight out hand that looks like this, that is useful during the transformation in order to get the kit to hold its weapon, which is, these nice guns. And the guns look cool. Could have stood for a little bit of paint application on the guns themselves, since you get it on the missile pods with the gold and the black and the white accents there and the panels. But overall, not too upset about the guns. I don't like the hands. Whatever. Another thing of note is this break here in the front of the chest. That's kind of unsightly, but I mean, I'm not gonna. Once you're far enough away from it, you're never gonna notice that. This thing, as you can see, as it spins around, it looks like a plane that turned into a robot, not a robot that turned into a plane. Or, you know, it's not trying to be like a transformer where you've got two completely visually distinct modes. This thing knows what it is. You've got kibble, you got greeble, you got plane stuff on the robot. On the robot, you got, you know, on the plane, you've got robot stuff. I'm okay with that. That's what this thing is supposed to be. Even if you're looking at a Veritech fighter from Macross, you can tell that that thing is a jet. That also just sort of happens to turn into a robot. Both modes look good because they're not trying overly hard to be any other thing. They're not trying to be a different mode or a different aesthetic in any given mode. They're just, here's what I am. I am a plane that turns into a robot. This one is a robot that turns into a plane. Again, I'm going to have to pick up some of the fiction around this thing. If it's anything like the artwork that comes in the book, then this thing, it'll be beautiful. I do like the display thing that they give you back here. I think that's really cool. I might have to look into that more and see if I can figure out a good way to actually display it with that. But overall, I actually really like this figure. Do I feel like it's worth the $80 that I spent on it? Yes. The amount of paint apps that you get, the joints, the tightness of it, the materials actually feel really good. The accessories that you get, even though it looks like a bunch of booster pods, you can actually, you know, do quite a lot with them. If you really want to get into all the other modes that this thing can quote unquote have, then, you know, fantastic. You can get a lot of good out of that. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like those other modes are anywhere near as strong as what you're going to get with, you know, just the base plane and the base robot modes there. So, now, size-wise, this thing is actually pretty big. In fact, let's stop him turning here. Slide him a little over to the side. We're going to put him up here. This is your Earthrise target exclusive thrust. So with thrust shoulders there, he's a little bit taller than this guy. Not by a lot. Honestly, they're about the same size. He definitely goes in with your Voyager class toys. So there you go. Probably not leader class. Definitely Voyager class. Definitely would fit in nice on a decent shelf of decently sized guys. Actually, if you want to put him on your Chud shelf, go for it. He probably would fit in really well there. Kind of tower over those guys a little bit. But then again, it's a, you know, large plane that turns into a large robot. So yeah. Now Thrust, you get out of here. Your disappointment. This guy, your star. There you go. That's my rating. He is a star out of, you know, next to some rough there. That rough being Thrust. So, again, this is the Big Firebird Kalavinka. I like it. I'm not going to lie. Happy I got it. Happy it arrived. Not disappointed with him in the least. Wish I could say the same about Thrust, but, you know, Thrust is a very different, he's a very different beast. This guy, it's just a beast. Just a straight up, beautiful, fantastic looking, amazing beast. So that's my review. Not going to do a transformation on camera. The transformation, again, is a little fiddly, some parts kind of stick. I don't want to try and do it on camera because I feel like I might accidentally put too much stress on a piece here. So keep that in mind if you do want to get this one, that, you know, there is going to be that danger. But there you have it. That's my review of this guy. Like, subscribe, share, you know, send me a comment, you know, whatever you want to do. I don't care. I'm fine with that. You guys just keep on viewing and I'll be happy with that. I'm going to keep on doing these sorts of videos and I hope you guys have a nice day.